Welcome to Richard Island. Yay! We are your hosts here on the lovely Richard Island. My name is Chad,
I'm Anthony.
and what we're here to do is to rate magic cards. How many of them are we going to rate?
Every single one ever printed.
Everyone.
All of them.
Currently,
Yeah.
we have ranked 8 of them. So, we're making our way through.
See, so many people in the Magic card world are just ready to gloss over the vast library that is Magic's rich history, but not us. We give every card the loving attention it deserves when it arrives here on that island.
And we have a new card to talk about today.
That's right, Chad. We have a new arrival to the island. Do you want to go ahead and introduce it?
Today's new arrival to the island is Grab the Reins. This is the Commander 2016 printing of Grab the Reins. It is a red card, a red instant that costs 3 uncolored, 1 red mana. You can choose one. Until the end of turn, you gain control of target creature and it gains haste, or sacrifice a creature. Grab the Reins deals damage equal to that creature's power to target creature or player. Or you can entwine the spell for an additional 2 uncolored and 1 red, and you can choose both.
Illustrated by Michael Sutton. Let's get into it, man. How about that name?
Grab the Reins. It tells you what you're going to do. You're going to gain control of a creature.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? One thing I like to give, one thing that's important to me about a name is the name is what I like to refer to is it's in the flavor region of the card. So
It's flavor adjacent.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's a flavor adjacent thing. So like,
Flavor Jace.
right, and it helps that if the card title matches what it does,
Mhm.
right, and then the picture matches the name, and if all of a sudden you got all these elements like working together with the name, it's like it becomes something where you're like, okay, when someone says, do you remember what Grab the Reins does, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I have an idea. It says it in the title, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not every card's like that.
Yeah.
So I settled in for those reasons on a 3.
I put it down as a 2 because you can choose to do something unflavorful with the name. If you do the second part of the rules text, you're not grabbing reins. You're killing stuff. I was thinking about possibly giving it a 3 because of the metal test. This isn't a bad name.
Right.
It's kind of sketch out an album name, but I could absolutely see this on a track listing of
Yeah.
metal CD.
Grab the reins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like yeah, and ride to your doom, because that's what's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Grab the Reins is it's an alright name for me, but yeah, you're right. Probably a little less memorable, but I gave it a little bit of a bump because of the synergy it had with the rest of the cards. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got a 3 and a 2. Okay, get into the casting cost of this card. 3 and a red.
That is a casting cost of 4, and 4 is a real popular cost here on Richard Island.
Not only does 4 suffer a lot because you have to do a lot at 4 because there's a lot of competition, but also very often, like if you're all the way up at 4, there might have been a card that did it at 3.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one, right? You can steal creatures at 3 mana. This is not a good casting cost.
No.
So I gave it a 2.
I also gave it a 2.
Yeah. It's like I said, not unheard of for this effect, but it's not the good stuff. All right. So getting into the art. All right.
Is this something that could be airbrushed on the side of a van? Yes.
I don't know if that's a song you would play when you were driving a van, but
Only if that van was a lowrider.
I just picture everything that goblins drive turns into some kind of weird low. Like they're just
So are you trying to say that goblins are Mexican?
They're cruising. They value style over substance. I don't know. They're not like orcs. Orcs are just all function, no form, right?
Mm-hmm.
But goblins, they like a little bit of style. They're classy guys. However, it's like the art it doesn't get a bad grade from me or anything. I don't think it's bad art, but the art itself, if it didn't match the rest of the card, then it would just be like, I wouldn't be that excited for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. yeah, the goblins, like I said, this is not, I'm not learning anything about the magic world. This is just a goblin literally grabbing reins. So I give it a 2. I was
Yeah,
like,
also too.
not bad art, but not one of my faves. That's cool. All right. Type. Ooh,
Instant.
instant.
We
Now
like
the
those.
now this card's getting a little spicy.
Hmm.
Into the rules region of the card. I I like it at instant. It's very neat to be able to steal your opponent's creatures at instant speed.
Oh yeah, like I hate stealing at sorcery speed. I mean, I'll still do it, but I would prefer to do it at instant speed.
Yeah. I mean, uh now it's like, now if they attack, you can kind of get the second part of this card,
Hmm.
right? And not only that, but you can do it with any opponent's creature, right? So
Yeah,
like let's say someone attacks into you because they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack Anthony because he's the weakest guy." And then I'm like, "All right, I steal the strongest creature over there from Seth, and I use it to block your creature, Garrett." And then Garrett's like, "Damn you, Anthony! Why did
and
I
then
think
you've taken cards away from two players.
right for 4? That's wow!" And because of instant speed, right? And ooh, that's pretty spicy. I could
Hmm.
even steal one of Garrett's creatures, right? To then declare it as a blocker against Garrett's creatures.
Yep.
But it is nice when you can steal someone else's and get like the both of them trading off against each other.
Hmm.
Then it's just like, then it's like you got both people. But so yeah, the instant thing is pretty nice. It,
4.
yeah, it also gets a 4 for me. That's a great. I don't know what better type you could give it, but the type is definitely not where this card is hurting.
Hmm.
All right, so printing. This was, oh sorry, rarity. Excuse me. Now the
Rarity. This
rarity.
is an uncommon, which, if I busted open a pack and I got this as an uncommon, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be excited either, but I wouldn't be mad at it.
Right, and I think one thing that's great about these kind of cards that are uncommon is if you want them, you can get them.
Yep.
If that's that in limited for your commander thing, whatever it is, like people are not going to be hoarding grab the reins, so it's a very accessible card, although it means your copy of the value of the reins is never going to be super exciting. So but I don't know, I just like the fact that if you want this effect, you can have it,
Hmm.
um in whatever it is, and it's fun. Like I said, this is a fun card. I don't know. I gave its rarity a 3.
3.
Yeah, it's fine. And for me, the printing of this, getting into that in this Commander 2017, uh,
2016.
sorry, 2016. I was just like, for me, when it's not the OG print just gets a 2.
I actually gave it a 3 specifically because it's a commander reprint, which means that this is something where you don't even necessarily have to fuck around with busting packs until you get one.
Mm,
Because this is a commander card, it means that it's already baked into a deck for you. So I gave it a 3.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, I'm glad that they're kind of pointing people in a direction where, like, oh, hey, we printed this card in Meriden, but hey, like, check it out. It actually works pretty great in Commander because of the way we worded it. So
Hmm.
maybe it's worth taking a revisit. So it's like a way of kind of like reintroducing something into the meta,
Yep.
right? Because cards can fall out of the consciousness. So yeah, that's fine. I don't have anything against it. For me though, it's just a 2. I'd like to see that old school version. So all right, getting into the rules text.
Now we're in the good part.
Yeah, you really like this one, huh?
Like the thing that's so great about it is like, okay, so you can steal a creature from one of your opponents,
Yeah.
and you can use that. You can do it during an attack because it's an instant. So you can steal a creature. You can use that creature that you stole to block another creature,
Hmm.
and if you decide to pay the entwine cost, because the entwine lets you do both of the options, you can sacrifice it. That you can sacrifice that creature and have it deal damage to a different creature or player. So the thing is, you are having one creature that's effectively blocked, and another creature is either going to die from blocking damage, or you can sacrifice it to deal other damage. It's like the
Yeah.
card's doing like a whole shit ton of different things. The only problem with it is to do all those different things, it costs 7 mana.
Yeah, that's true. Although once again, it's like these cards, their flexibility is what make them useful, right? It's
Hmm.
like you're right. If the card was just 7 mana only, both those effects only, right? Or if it was something like steal one of your opponent's creatures or target one of your opponent's creatures, they sacrifice it, and then you can deal damage to any target equal to that creature's power, right? It's like, oh, okay, but you're right. It's flexible in so many situations because of the fact that it's an instant, right?
Hmm.
And it's got different modes on it. So for just 4 mana instant, you got 2 different modes,
Hmm.
right? Because you might even use it. Maybe you want to sacrifice. Like now you have a sack outlet on a spell,
Yep.
right? So that might be nice. And then, like I said, with the entwine cost in there, now it's like, oh, you can bump it up a notch. And even when you use the entwine version, right? If you have uh your own sack outlet, you can still steal your opponent's creature, attack with it, sacrifice it to your own sack outlet, and sacrifice something to grab the reins of your own. If you know what I mean, there's just lots of different things you could do.
Hmm.
If you wanted to get like really crazy with it. So I just think like cards that are really flexible, like you'll be surprised how this is always going to kind of like fit into the situation you're in. Just like a card that has cycling, right? It's just like I'm using it or I dump it and I get another card. So that's great.
Yeah, you're right. Originally, when I was looking at the rules text, I was thinking, oh man, Entwine, fancy kicker, that's bullshit. But you've convinced me that you do want this to be two different modes at the original casting cost, and not just the first part with the second part being the kicker.
Yeah, it like I said, I like narrow effects, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
narrow effects on a flexible card can sometimes just add up to more. And like I said, in these commander games, that's the thing that makes certain cards such an agonizing choice. It's like, oh, it's like I really like disenchant, but like, oh, there's like a lot of other cards that like just say destroy a permanent, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, those are almost always going to go in because it's just like, yeah, I'm often paying maybe one more in the casting cost to get anything, but there it is. I can just get anything, and so I know that whenever I draw this card, it's going to be useful. And this card, I just think, unlike other like threats and effects, I guess they call them, right? It's like sometimes like I think this card has more of a chance of being useful because it like like I said, the instant part plus the bimodal thing and the twine cost, all of these add for like you're not paying attention if you can't find a situation where this is going to benefit you somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this gets a uh I mean, but that rules text, just so you know, is not, I don't think it's the most powerful thing and all time effect.
No,
Even at
it's definitely not. It's
even
just
at
look at all
7.
the cool, fun things you can do.
Right. I like flexible spells, but still, I still give it a 3.
Okay. I had actually bumped it up to a 4. I had originally looked at it as a 3,
Yeah.
but you convinced me of how good Entwine is.
No, yeah, it like I said, I just know that these things end up coming to play. Um you're like, "Oh, this is the situation where I use the entwine."
Hmm.
um all right, and then onto the flavor text.
No flavor text.
No flavor text, 0
No flavor.
gets the goose, but not, we
Mhm.
don't hate you.
We don't hate you because you ain't got no flavor.
Right. But we're not going to rate something that isn't present.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's just not there. The big 0.
All right. So I came in at a total of 19.
I came in with 20.
All right. So
Let's try and see if we can pinpoint on the list.
on the
Uh,
island, yeah.
yeah. All right. So the first card that I'm looking at that I'm kind of comparing it to in my mind is mechanized production. Like,
Okay.
all right, and the cards right above and below mechanized production are Stranglehold and Luminous Bonds. Do you think it's in that area, or am I looking too low?
No, it kind of reminds me of like Luminous Bonds, right? It's
Oh,
like, oh, being extra, but it's definitely better than Luminous Bonds because of the flexibility.
okay. Is it better than mechanized production?
Woo, mechanized production. All right.
There's a
So,
lot of dicks on that card.
hmm. You know what though? I think people tend to go for type, kind of when you start to get into these realms, like these are the haymaker type plays, right?
Hmm.
Like grab the reins is like a nice little, like tricksy thing that maybe red decks like to finish out this way. Just when you thought you stabilized, they take your most stabilizing presence and put it on their side and slam it towards you, and sometimes even sacrifice it for value. you know
Hmm.
and this time, and in this case, they don't even have to be able to make a successful attack with your best creature. They can just take it away from you, slam it into your face, right, while sacrificing it, and then you know smash you with everything they got. So there's
Hmm.
or it's just instant speed. So it's like whatever thing you think you blocked of theirs, it still somehow gets by because they sacrificed it to deal its power right to you. I don't know. Um, these kind of tricksy cards end up killing people when they think they weren't dead.
Yeah,
Mechanized production is this like
it's an obvious death that you can see, like the gears grinding towards your doom.
yeah. I feel like this card is better than mechanized, but mechanized production. Look, even if it doesn't win you the game, in a turn, it will create you a copy. I just feel like there's other things though that will create you a copy of something right then and there. You play it and it creates a copy of something. So like this is like mechanized production. I'm realizing like that win of the game thing is so seductive, but it really is. It really is not good at. It's not good at winning you the game, and it's
Hmm.
not good at creating copies. And it's not an artifact that's mechanizing and producing. I'm
I
gonna
think that this is going to go in between mechanized production and Stranglehold.
Yeah, that's a good place for it. I like Stranglehold more. It's more metal, the art is better, and the
Hmm.
effect is pretty crippling in the right situations. And uh I just think it's gonna it's for me, it's a cooler card.
I think Stranglehold is useful more, especially in Commander.
All right, but I like grab the reins above mechanized production. I'm learning stuff about mechanized production. Mechanized production might get a reevaluation soon.
Mm, I think it's in a good place. I mean, I still think it's better than Luminous Bonds.
Yeah, that's true. Weak pacifism.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So I like that. All right, so we got grab the reins. Where would that place it, Chad?
That would place it at number 6.
You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
Uh, and because I forgot to mention it earlier, number 1 on the island, greatest card of all time, Yogalops. Worst card of all time, Distortion Strike. Uh, Grab the Reins is now moving in at 3 above Distortion Strike.
Okay, so wait.
It's in the bottom half of the list, but it's not that far down
So what's its place?
You are number 6.
out of
What?
9.
Well, that's interesting. It's like the
Number 6.
it's becoming like a volatile section of the island.
Number
This is where we're
6.
putting cards where we're just like, this card isn't bad. It's just not good.
But I like that. I like that there's like it's bad like it's interesting. I think that is how it's going to be. Like probably the more in the middle of the mountain you are, the more you're going to have to do battle for your spot.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely. Being the king of the bell curve, that's the tough part.
right. It's like the challengers you're going to see are few, but they're going to be mighty. So it is interesting. So I think, but I think that is right. A card like grab the range should come in amongst the middle there. So
Number 6.
seems fine for grab the reins. All right, excelente. Um, so yeah, welcome to the island. Grab the reins. Um, moving on here, let's kind of wrapping it up, get into our end step here. The card we have selected for next week, applying for citizenship,
On Richard Island is Ember Weaver.
Ember Weaver. Okay, so Ember
And we're
Weaver.
looking specifically at the M25 edition. If you guys at home would like to go through your long boxes and then pull out the cards so that you can look at it while we're talking about it.
Wait, did you say the M?
Masters 25.
Oh, the Masters 25 edition
Yep.
of Ember Weaver. Okay, very nice.
I re-downloaded Madden 16 yesterday because I missed football.
Well, everyone, hey, thanks for tuning in to Richard Island.
Yeah, you could do all that like, follow, subscribe bullshit. I don't know what you're supposed to say at the end of YouTube things.
Yeah, you know.
You know what to do.